Robert De Niro was receiving an award, and he figured out that they had cut out some of his speech. He had submitted his speech.
Oh, what was the awards for? It was from Apple or something?
He was accepting an award for Killer of the Flower Moon, but I think it was something to do with Apple.
Okay. The
Icon and Creator Tribute. It's called the Gotham Awards. Oh, look. Citizens Lens, whatever the hell that is. So let's watch what happened.
I just want to say one thing. The beginning of my speech was edited, cut out. I didn't know about it. And I want to read it.
Well, because they knew it was going to suck in rehearsal. I think that's why.
He rehearsed this. This is a thing that he rehearsed.
He rehearsed this. And then people cheered.
It was, thank you. History isn't history anymore. Truth is not truth. Even facts are being replaced by alternative facts.
Is this a poem?
And driven by conspiracy theories and ugliness. In Florida, young students are taught that slaves developed skills which could be applied for their personal benefit. The entertainment industry isn't immune to this festering disease. The Duke John Wayne famously said of Native Americans, "I don't feel we did wrong in taking this great country away from them. There were great numbers of people who needed new land, and the Indians were selfishly trying to keep it for themselves." Lying has become just another tool in the charlatan's arsenal. The former president lied to us more than 30,000 times during his Thank you.
Wow, why would they want to cut any of this gold? This is like simulating having Thanksgiving dinner with him. Oh my God. And he's upset that this is my favorite thing when people pretend they're upset that Donald Trump lies. Right? Really?
30,000.
You think the establishment is upset that a politician went to Washington, D.C. and started lying nonstop? If you believe that, I've got a vaccine I'd like to sell you.
But the thing that's great is this is so like really meandering. Like, remember when Clint Eastwood
why did he bring up John Wayne?
It all connects in some way, but it's the kind of thing, so apparently there's a rehearsal. They took this out of prompter, and that's why he's looking at his phone.
Yeah, he's reading it up.
Mm-hmm. So he went through this. Nobody punched up his, hey, maybe you want to focus on the,
right.
You don't like Trump. The John Wayne thing, great story, but maybe you want to focus on where you're going. I don't know, the number of lies, maybe focus on another Donald Trump thing, the court cases, the solid court cases.
Years in office, and he's keeping up the pace in his current campaign of retribution. But with all his lies, he can't hide his soul. He attacks the weak, destroys the gifts of nature, and shows disrespect, for example, by using Pocahontas as a slur.
Oh.
Filmmakers, on the other hand, strive. This is where I came in and I saw that they edited all that.
Yeah, they must feel really embarrassed that they did that.
Whoever did that should get a raise. So Robert De Niro is accepting an award for Killers of the Flower Moon by attacking Donald Trump.
Right.
Because sure, I mean, Native Americans are important in all of this. And what happened to them was really bad, but this is important, guys. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Robert De Niro agrees. Rob Reiner agrees. Everybody named Rob in the industry agrees. Okay, maybe not Rob Schneider, but everyone definitely who has been to Epstein Island agrees that this is really important.
Yeah.
They still don't get how this works. You keep mentioning him over and over and over and over. You make him the focus of every topic, no matter what it is. Even you accepting an award for this movie, you still make him the center of conversation. This is how you're going to put him right back in the White House, you stupid asswipes.
Well, do you hear that now the John Wayne thing makes sense about the Indians? Because I'll bet this was his speech probably had something at least to do with Killers of the Flower Moon type of issues, and he decided to go rogue and jam in all the Trump stuff. You're like the John Wayne thing. I think John Wayne did say that, right?
He must have.
They were selfishly not sharing their land.
Killers of the Flower Moon. What is it about?
It's about, there was in Tulsa, I think it was.
I thought it was about the black people who got...
No.
What is it about?
It's about Native Americans whose land was stolen from them because they had oil.
Oh, because they had oil.
Yeah, it was like Beverly Hillbillies, but instead of a sitcom.
And they wipe
Okay.
out an
Murder.
entire tribe.
Okay.
Thousands of people.
And this, yeah, he plays the guy and his nephew, and the nephew is married to the wife, so they would just constantly murder.
And so
Yeah.
right now, the guy that he voted for is enabling a literal genocide on TV in front of everyone's eyes, and he's still upset at a guy who hasn't been in office for 3 years. He's still upset at a guy who, by the way, when they asked him why he hated Donald Trump, this is what his response was. Listen to this.
On everything possible, much worse than I ever thought, ever.
He's saying Donald Trump is much worse than he ever thought he would be, ever.
Okay, well,
What-
that's a
After
strong
he was
statement.
elected, I said, well, give him a chance. You never know, you'll see. But he's worse than I ever could have imagined.
And what is at the heart of that? What is the primary critique or complaint or objection?
I don't know. I think part
He
of-
doesn't
I think
know!
he's crazy in a way. Part of him is just crazy. I mean,
Does he not understand the
if
question?
it wasn't for you, CNN, MSNBC, and some other outlets that
If it wasn't for the pro-war, lying, corporate billionaire-owned, lying pieces of it in corporate media, we wouldn't be. What would we do without them?
He's like a Fox News dad, like Shane Gillis.
Yes, he's like Shane-
of
That's right.
MSNBC.
That's exactly right.
It's like that stupid, like just old, like, yeah, look at it, and like, did you just watch this? Yeah, CNN.
He's saying, what would we do without the news corporations that lie to us on a daily basis? They've lied to us about every war in my lifetime. They're currently lying to us about Ukraine. They're currently lying to us about Israel, Palestine. They're currently lying to us about COVID and the vax and Fauci and mandates. They're lying to us about Obama's record. They're lying to us about Libya. They lied to us about Syria, Afghanistan for 20 years. There isn't a thing that the corporate media hasn't lied to us about, but they're his savior because in his shadow lives Donald Trump, meaning that he is the part of him that he projects onto Donald Trump is in him. So Robert De Niro, the people who are most triggered by Donald Trump are Donald Trump, but they suppress it into their unconscious and then they project it onto Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't any bigger liar than Joe Biden, that's for sure, and he's less of a criminal even than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's had a much longer kill list than Donald Trump. Joe Biden, how many wars has he been a part of? Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, and now Ukraine, where he got at least 400,000 Ukrainians slaughtered. And now he's enabling a genocide in Gaza. But this guy's still pissed off at Donald Trump. And why? He can't even tell you why. I'll tell you why. If you read Jungian psychology, he hates him because he hates that part of himself that he projects onto Donald Trump. That's why he hates him, and that's why he can't tell you why he hates him, because he would actually have to turn inward and look inside himself and realize that what he really hates is the part of himself that he thinks is like Donald Trump. That's what this is all about. That's when you hear Cenk Uygur screaming and foaming at the mouth, when you hear guys like Keith Olbermann, when you hear people like this, that's exactly what this is. Every time this guy gets an award, he says, fuck Donald Trump. Every time he gets an award, he can't stop talking about Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump hasn't been president for 3 years. And when you ask him, what did he do that's so bad? He can't even tell you. Let me play.
Wait, did you see what he said? He goes, if it hasn't been for he goes CNN, MSNBC, and Brian Stelter.
And Brian Stelter.
If it hasn't been for Brian
Specifically.
Stelter.
Specifically.
MSNBC.
on everything possible, much worse than I ever thought, ever. The day after he was elected, I said, well, give him a chance. You never know, you'll see. But he's worse than I ever could have imagined.
And what is at the heart of that? What is the primary critique or complaint or objection?
I don't know. I think I think he's crazy. Part of him is just crazy. I mean, if it wasn't for you, CNN, MSNBC, and some other outlets, the New York Times, the Washington Post, I mean, where are we? This is a crazy world.
It is, isn't it?
It is a crazy world.
It's a crazy world.
It's a crazy world. Where would we be without the Washington Post? You mean the Jeff Bezos? Again, they lie about everything. They lied about every war. They crush workers. They crush unions. Same thing with the New York Times. Same thing with the Democrats, MSNBC, CNN. They lied about Joe Rogan. They had to paint his skin green to to serve their puppet masters, which is Big Pharma.
I'm going to debunk that. They didn't use paint, Jimmy.
They
That's
they colored his skin green. A comedian, because he was telling the truth about ivermectin and COVID. That was
debunked, Jimmy.
He was
an expert looked at it and said no, they didn't.
He was telling you that ivermectin wasn't a horse medicine. Primarily, it's a human medicine. And for that, they colored his skin green and smeared him relentlessly. But as soon as he got Dr. Sanjay Gupta on the show, Dr. Sanjay Gupta had to admit to Joe Rogan's face, that, yeah, everybody at CNN was lying about ivermectin and lying about Joe Rogan. This is the guy thanking those people. Why? Because he's much better reading lines than writing lines. And this is why he's an actor and not a writer and not a comedian and not a public speaker. He's an actor because he doesn't have anything inside of him. He has to take on personalities of other people. That's what Bobby De Niro is.
Well, now it's the greatest role of his lifetime.
He spoke out. He spoke out against vaccines about 8 or 9 years ago.
Right.
And I forgot. He got a phone call because he was going to that movie.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
The documentary was going to air at his film festival in Tribeca, and he went on TV and said, "We've got to look at this. If you see the documentary, you've got to look at what vaccines are doing." He got a phone call, and he pulled that movie from his film festival, and he's been a good boy ever since. And now he can't stop talking about Donald Trump. Right now, the guy he voted for just crushed a union. He just crushed the railroad strike.
Oh, because he's crazy.
He just did mandates for Big Pharma that, thank God, the courts overturned. And he's got 400,000 Ukrainians slaughtered on a lie while bankrupting our treasury. And now he's enabling a genocide right in front of your eyes. None of that makes it onto Bobby De Niro's radar. Why? Because he isn't Joe Biden in his shadow. He is Donald Trump in his shadow.
I got to say, I don't give Biden enough credit for his great speaking ability.
So, Bob, this is what happens when he doesn't look at the script before he goes on television. What's your primary critique of him? Oh shit, I should have looked at the script. Nobody wrote that down for me.
When Trump freeballs it, he does a much better job.
He does a much better job. So Donald Trump actually did respond to Bobby De Niro. He said, Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished, with his reputation now shot, must even use a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language. So disrespectful to our country.
Disrespectful.
He has become unwatchable, both in movies and with the fools that destroyed the Academy Awards, bringing them from one of the top shows in the country to a low-rated afterthought. De Niro should... That part's true. De Niro should focus on his life, which is a mess.
I know, because I was on that Epstein plane with him, and he's out of control.
Rather than the lives of others, he has become a total loser as the world watches, waits, and laughs.
Well, you can't fault him. I mean, that ain't one of his 33,000 lies.
That's not a 33,000 lie. He's actually telling the truth right there. Wow. So, Bobby De Niro so now you know what's wrong with Bobby De Niro, and you want to see how. I'll show it one more time. This is what happens when Robert De Niro doesn't have someone writing lines for him.
On everything possible, much worse than I ever thought, ever. The day after he was elected, I said, well, give him a chance. You never know, you'll see. But he's worse than I ever could have imagined.
And what is at the heart of that? What is the primary critique or complaint or objection?
I don't know. I think he's crazy in a way. Part of him is just crazy. I mean, if it wasn't for you, CNN, MSNBC, and some other outlets, the New York Times, the Washington Post, I mean, where are we? This is a crazy world. He's done everything possible.
He asked that question of him, and you're talking about dumb.
Couldn't say one thing.
You go, but yes, obviously. But if Brian Stelter there could have just said, and what is it you don't like, as opposed to like, and what is the heart of the something of the bleep bleep, like, that's already confusing to an actor. He answers this as if we already know what's wrong with him, and it's just why is he so crazy? Like, it's all a foregone conclusion. Rob De Niro, and he didn't ask the question in a clear way of like, what things has Trump done?
Well, I'm not going to blame this on Brian Stelter. No. That's not a hard question to understand. What's the heart of your critique of Donald Trump? That's a pretty easy question to understand. And if Robert De Niro could not figure out one thing that's at the heart of his critique about Donald Trump, he just was like, I think he's crazy in a way. That's what you came up with? That's all he could come up with.
It's not like training a German Shepherd. This is a lower intellect creature.
Hey, guess what? The search for the perfect gift is over. I've got the most genius stocking stuffer for everyone on your list. What is it? It's CBD from CB Distillery. Stuff their stockings with CBD for better sleep, or give the runner-up on your list the gift of less pain after exercise. And wouldn't a calmer mind this holiday be the perfect gift for yourself? CB Distillery has you covered with their full range of carefully formulated CBD and plant-based solutions. CB Distillery's healing plant compounds are made with the highest quality, clean ingredients. No artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. And with over 2 million customers and 100% money-back guarantee, you can't get better than that. CB Distillery is the source to trust. This year, give the gift of a calmer mind, better sleep, and less pain after exercise. And use the code JIMMY. You can stuff their stockings for 20% off. Visit cbdistillery.com. That's right. Enter the code JIMMY for that 20% discount. No prescription required. That's cbdistillery.com. Promo code JIMMY for 20% off. That's cbdistillery.com. We're doing live comedy shows in Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Michigan, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Boston. Plus, we're going to put a date in Edmonton, Canada, plus Vancouver. See ya. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.